Hi everyone, welcome back to the Stitches and Scribbles channel. My name is Erin and I've got a vlog for you today. So as per usual, I have put myself in a situation where I'm going to have to scramble to finish a project, and in this case actually start the project because I had it started and I decided I didn't like it, so I frogged it and started over. So I have a wedding that is a week from Saturday. Today is Thursday, so I have slightly over a week to accomplish this. And I was knitting a shawl called the Stitch Sampler Shawl, and it was a really beautiful pattern, very easy to follow, but you could not see any of the stitches with this yarn, which made it really hard to be motivated to work on it, and also all of the work I would have put into it, you wouldn't have been able to see anything because it's a variegated yarn. So I made the decision this morning to frog it, but I still need it done for this wedding because I bought a dress to match it and I will need it. So I have decided to try to make this as easy as possible on myself. I also decided that I needed to go with a simple stitch because anything super complicated is just going to get lost in the pattern of the yarn, and also I need to be able to work this up quickly. So I decided that the best way to do this, first of all, I wanted a rectangular shawl for this particular item. So I decided that doing a granny rectangle would be the easiest way to accomplish what I want and still have good stitch definition, showcase the colors that are in the yarn. It'll make the yarn go farther because the granny stitch has a lot of like open work in it. And it should work up pretty quickly. So this yarn, as I drop everything everywhere, is the Yarn Bee Authentic Hand-Dyed Yarn in the color Hibiscus Palm. This is from Hobby Lobby. My store doesn't seem to be carrying a lot of the hand-dyed yarn anymore. It used to be in like hanks on, like hung on one of the display racks instead of like in the little cubby insert things. But mine only has a couple of colors left and they're now in the cubbies. They're not hanging as a display like they were before. But you could easily do this with any fingering-ish weight yarn. The weight of the yarn probably doesn't matter. You could do this in whatever you want, but this is what I'm using. I have 3 skeins of it, which means I should have about 1,200 yards, and that should be plenty for a shawl, but I do want to make sure that it ends up fairly big because rectangle shawls are better when they're bigger. So I think that's all the intro I need. I have pulled up a tutorial for a granny rectangle on YouTube. I'm using the Bella Coco one unless I change my mind. A lot of these are for rectangle afghans, which is not quite the dimensions that I want. So whatever they say to do for the starting chain, I'm going to have to make mine quite a bit longer because I want a very like elongated rectangle, not like a blanket dimension rectangle. So we're just going to dive into this video and hopefully get good progress on this shawl today. I just finished the first row of my shawl and I'm a lot happier with how the stitches look this time. I like how the colors are kind of pooling so that the each cluster is kind of a different color. I'm sorry if you can hear my heat in the background. It is very cold here today, so we have the heat on. But I'm just going to keep going in pattern. The only thing I'm changing is in the tutorial, she has it so that you're facing the same direction every time while you're working. I'm going to switch directions each row so that it doesn't curl up as much when I get to the end. But I'm just going to keep plugging along on this shawl. One more thing. You chain multiples of 3 to set up the first row. I didn't count my chains. I just chained about my wingspan because I wanted to make sure it would be long enough to sit around my shoulders comfortably. And even though it will gain some length, it won't gain a lot because however many rows you do to change the width, that same number of rows will be added to either end. So I just made sure that it was not going to be too short. But I did not actually count my chain stitches. I just kept counting to 3 over and over again to set up my first row. But I'm just going to keep going. It is now the next day, and this is how much I have on my shawl. I'm still working on the first skein. I think I'm maybe like a third to a halfway through it. It's a little hard to tell because it's in a ball instead of in a cake or in a skein. But I'm really liking how it's going so far. I also like that because I started with the granny rectangle, I won't have one edge that's different than the other. Part of the thing that I don't like about doing granny stripes or just doing the granny stitch in rows is that one end you always have the chain that you started with, and the other end is the edge of the normal stitches, and the chain edge always ends up tighter than the other edge. So I like that for this the chain stitches are in the middle and they won't be present at either end because of how the motif increases in size. But I'm gonna keep going on this and hopefully get a lot of stitches in tonight and this weekend between all of my other activities. But for now, we're just gonna sit and crochet and watch some YouTube vlogs. Okay, I know I'm supposed to be working on my shawl. You might wonder why I'm in my car. I am now like halfway through the yarn that I had, and I do really like how it's looking, but I should have dug this out of my pocket before. I have a scrap of yarn in my pocket that I'm taking into Hobby Lobby with me because I realized I kind of want to put a border on my shawl. So since I got the yarn originally from Hobby Lobby, I'm hoping I can find something fairly similar-ish in terms of color that I can add as a little border, but I figured I would head on in and see what I find. All right, it's another day. It is now the Sunday before the wedding. I did manage to pick up a yarn that I think is going to match about as well as I could with the yarn I had. They actually did have more of the colorway that I bought originally for the shawl, but I really wanted like an accent color for the edging, so I went with this deep burgundy. Here it is up against the original colorway, so definitely a good coordinating color in this deep red. This is the Yarn Bee Soft and Sleek DK in the color Oxblood. I have used this yarn before on a different project. I think I have a whole shawl made with it. Really like it. Something I did notice while I was at Hobby Lobby, they have very, very few fingering weight yarns or yarns that are labeled as fingering weight. This one was labeled as a 3. I don't think it's a 3 because it's almost identical to the hand dyed, which is labeled as a 1. Not sure what that's all about, but I'm definitely going to be using this for my trim, even though it shouldn't be the same size as the original yarn I'm using. I have been working on this quite a lot. I haven't done a lot of clips of me working on it because I figure you don't need that many clips of me doing granny stitch on repeat. But this is what one end of it looks like now. I'm almost done with the second skein, so I definitely think that the finished piece will be wide enough, especially with adding that border around the edge. So I think the plan for today, I have Mass to go to first, but then I'm doing Dungeons and Dragons with my family, so I will probably be working on this while we are playing D&D, and hopefully I can get some more rows in. But at this point, I'm not super worried about finishing on time because I've been making such quick progress through it, and that is the beauty of the granny stitch. It gets worked up very, very quickly, and I'm very excited to put this together in a final outfit. I tried on my dress yesterday, made sure everything was good to go, because I ordered it from Amazon, which is always like kind of a risk in terms of whether or not it's going to fit. But I really like how the dress fits. So this might turn into like sort of a get ready with me video, because I do want to show you the finished outfit all put together when we reach that point. But for now, I'm just going to continue granny stitching, and yeah, that's the plan for today. Okay, so it's been a couple days. It's now Thursday, and I have made a lot of progress on this shawl. I have about enough yarn left to finish the row I'm on, so that's the goal for right now. And then I think I'm going to start brainstorming what I want to do with the trim yarn. I think I want some like tassels or fringe situation, just to give it a little bit more movement. But I don't know if I'm going to do rows all the way around in the red. I might do it just on the long edges to make it wider but not longer. But I'll have to see once I finish this row and try it on and see what it looks like. But for now, we are doing more endless granny stitch. Okay, I have finished the main color, and I really like the width, or not the width, I like the length of the shawl, although I definitely wouldn't mind if it was a little bit longer, but I think I definitely want the width to be longer so that I have a little bit more length covering my arms and my back. So I think I am going to go all the way around with my contrast color. And then on my last row, I think maybe instead of fringe, I'll do like some sort of a picot stitch edging, because I think I'd rather have more fabric for the length than have tassels or fringe. So I think that's going to be the goal. I'll keep going for as many rounds as I can with the contrast color and then add that picot edging. Okay, it is now the day of the wedding, and I could be done with this shawl if I wanted to, but I have yarn left. So I did 4 rows of plain old granny stitch in my contrast color, which I think really added a lot to the shawl, but I kind of want some fun edges on it. That is very cozy. That just feels like wearing a blanket. And I went back and forth between wanting to do fringe and wanting to do like a picot edging, but now I'm thinking, why not just do both? So I think my plan is to do picot edging on the long side, so that like where it's sitting right here will have the little ruffle edge, not ruffle, but the like lacy edge. And then I think I might do some fringe on the short edge so that I get kind of a little bit of both. So that is the plan. I have a couple hours before I need to start getting ready. Now hair is all over the place, and I think I should have plenty of time to get that done, but let's go ahead and dive back in and hopefully finish this up.